Hello, everyone, and welcome to the workshop. Today's workshop is called From Overwhelmed, and you can see the sad face here behind me, to Overjoyed, and you'll see the happy face. So for those of you who don't know who I am Diana Lidstone, known as the Business Grow Master, and I'm all about helping service-based entrepreneurs work less and earn more. So you have, some of you have introduced yourselves in the chat. That is amazing, amazing. I really want to, I hope everybody, first of all, has their workbook. Did everybody get their workbook? And does everybody have that workbook with them? If you could, say yes in the chat, that would be great. I want to make sure that you have that. I have my colored pens that I use for coloring. And today is going to be very interactive, and I'm looking for your engagement and for your interaction. And I'll tell you why. I learned this figure the other day. Apparently, science says that when we listen, when we just listen, we retain about 10% of what we are hearing. When we write and make notes, we retain about 20 to 30%. But when we're engaged, when we use our hands to do a high five, or when we come on and speak, if we are really being engaged, we will retain 70 to 80%. So I'm going to put the workbook here in the chat for those of you who find it. That's the cover. Here we are. There you go. Okay, that should help you. And if you print it one-sided and in black and white, then you get to color it like this. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing today. Good. I just wanted to share a little bit to start about how this training came to pass and why I'm going to teach you about 5 ways to uncomplicate your business. And it came to pass really from a customer testimonial. A couple of years ago, I was working with a customer in Montreal, a client in Montreal, a multi-million-dollar client. And I thought, what do they need me for? There we are. We'll just add some more. And what do they need me for? And when I finished working with them, their testimonial said that I really helped them simplify and clarify their business. And they needed to be able to, Leslie, if you could just, I'm going to mute you there. There we are. And what she said was that she had to actually simplify her business before she could grow it. And that made me realize that so many businesses get complicated, and the business owners get very overwhelmed. And so I started to pull out, and how could I systematize how I help them simplify their business? And so that's how this whole simplifying before you grow came to be in my world. But I also want to make sure that I put this in perspective for you. What I want to put into perspective is that simplifying your business is only a little bit of it. And I'm going to use my flip chart here. So what I'm going to do is I will pin my video. There we are. So you can see it a little better. And I'm going to flip over. And if I was to say, here you are, you're overwhelmed. And here you are, overjoyed. And how are you going to get there? There are basically 3 things that I focus on. Okay. I focus on helping you get known as the undeniable authority in your field so that you can magnetize high-paying clients. I help you ramp up your profits so that you're making more money. And I help you optimize your systems and the assets that you have. So where does simplification come in? Simplification comes in here. Comes in right there. So just so that you understand, if you want to add a zero to your business, if you want to go from 5 figures to 6 figures, if you want to go from 6 figures to 7 figures, there's still a lot more. But simplification truly will help you begin that process. So is that clear for everybody? Say yes in the chat, and then we will get going. Awesome. Awesome. Okay.
Diana, what was the O?
Optimize. Optimize your assets. So your assets are things like your, maybe it's your website, maybe it's your email list, maybe it's your team, maybe it's your systems, all of those things. Does that answer your question, Pat?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. I want
Diana.
Yes.
Sorry, I had to step out for a quick second. Do you mind just going over the G and the R again, please? I had to step away. Sorry.
No problem. No problem. So I'll start again with this. Here you are, perhaps overwhelmed, unhappy with the state of your business. And really what you want is you want maybe more free time in your business, maybe more profits in your business. And so you go from sad face to happy face. How do you get there? The G, I say, is, and if you'll notice this, GRO is grow. So the G is to become the undeniable, get known. So get known as the undeniable authority in your field, which means you are going to magnetize high-paying clients. The R is about ramping up your profits. How are you going to ramp up your profits? Could be sales, it could be pricing, it could be your core offer. And the O is optimize. So G plus R plus O equals W, which means work less, earn more. And that's why my recently launched podcast is called the Grow Equation Business Podcast. Okay, so thank you everybody for spending your time with me. Today I want to make sure that you understand I'm going to share the exact steps, 5 steps that you need to make your marketing easier, but also uncomplicate your business so that you can regain some of this precious time. Thank you, Cheryl. And for some people, it's actually by simplifying your business. What I have found is that customers actually fall in love with their business again. Okay. All right. So here's a couple of questions and I'd like some feedback from you. Time for this interaction. Here's question number 1. Do you find marketing easy or difficult? So you can just write easy or difficult. It's only 2 possible answers. It's easy, I love it, I rock at it, or kind of, it's not so wonderful. Easy, difficult, challenging. Okay. Yeah, good. All right. Depends on the day. Good one. All right. For those of you who had said marketing is easy, would you agree that there can be room for more ease in your marketing? Could there be more room for ease? I see Deborah kind of nodding your head. Yeah, sure. It could be more ease. Okay, number 3, question number 3. Always, thanks. If you are profitable in your business, How many of you agree that there's room for more profit? Just say, type in the chat, more. More. All right. Good, good, good. Now, here's kind of one that might be a little challenging, a question. But would you agree that you might have to shed some beliefs if you want to reach a new level of success, a new level of profit, a new level of ease in your business? Would you agree? Just type agree if you agree. All right. Only Cheryl agrees. Leslie? All right, good one. Guess what? That means that you guys are in the right place today. You're in the right place. So thank you for that. Have your workbook. I'd like you to go to the last page. And I'm going to use this last page as a little bit of a different way of introducing who I am. Who I am. I know that there are people here that really don't know me that well. And for those who are listening to the recording, it will also help them. So who am I? Diana Lidstone. I have been an entrepreneur for more than 35 years, and I'm not going to tell you how many more than 35 years. I've also been coaching for many, many years. And, you know, I looked at the list of people who were signed up for this today, and I went, okay, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Of the people that I could actually find on Facebook, there were 10 different industries that people were in, 10 different industries. And I've worked with over 50 different industries. But today in my business, and I think it's part of where I am in my life, I'm all about working less and earning more. I'm sick and tired of hustle. I'm sick and tired of the overwhelm. I'm sick and tired of not getting paid well. How many of you are with me there? How many of you are with me there? Raise your hand if I can see you. Yes. Okay. You know, this last couple of years, I want to be honest, and I want to share this with you, not to impress you, but to impress upon you. Thank you, Chantel. I have never worked so few hours and yet been so profitable. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that, but it relates, I think, to my definition of success. And I decided that my definition of success would be earning a comfortable 6 figures and working 3 days a week. A comfortable I'm not out there to build a multi-million-dollar business, but a comfortable 6 figures is good for me. Anybody there with me? All right, good. Okay. But I want to share with you that it wasn't always that way. I remember when I started out, Pat Snow might remember, she started out probably before I did, but I met Pat many years ago when I was starting out. And my first client was a private client who paid me $300 a month for 4 hours a month. What did I know about building a coaching business? I really didn't know what I didn't know. And over the years, I learned, and I thought that the right way to go was to launch group things and to be constantly launching. I also held my own live events, which were a perfect fit for me. But I also became a consumer of everything that's out there. So I listened to all the free master classes, and I downloaded all those free lead magnets. And I was watching other people out there thinking that's going to be the answer for me. But being the consumer was not the answer. I will tell you that shifting to being the creator, so stopping what didn't work, focusing on what truly does work, and being the creator of things that fit me and my lifestyle, this is what has worked for me. Because I discovered that I was truly doing things backwards. I grew up where the interpretation of what is success, you had to work hard. If you didn't work hard to be successful, that you must have been greedy or gotten it in some ill way. Anybody else grow up having that belief or living in that culture? Anybody else? To me, success equaled hard work. Yeah. And guess what? It's a really tough thing to understand that is not true logically, but to truly believe it in your heart. And, you know, hard work, doing more all the time was not the answer for me. And I know that it is not the answer for so many of you. The truth is, less is better. And as my husband was nearing retirement, and he said to me, Diana, when are you going to retire? And I said, well, I don't want to retire. But I knew that he wanted to have more free time to do some things. And I started looking at my own business and said, how can I simplify my own business? And that's when I decided to, despite the shame and despite the guilt, let go of my group programs and focus solely on those people who I could provide deep transformation. So my private clients who came to me for a year and who stay for 2 and 3 years. Okay. So yeah, I had a complete shift in my business and I let go of, now it's true, I was making money from my group program. I won't deny it, but was it the best use of my time? When I wanted to regain some private time, when I wanted to not burn out? No, it wasn't. So I learned that we have to simplify before we grow or before we scale. People often use that term. It's all about letting go of what's not working, doubling down on what is working, so that as the entrepreneur, as the CEO of your business, you have time to think and be that visionary, lead that team. Because even if you just have a part-time bookkeeper or a part-time VA or a housekeeper, that is part of a team, right? And we can't do this without our team. So simplify before you grow. And today I'm going to share with you 5 ways that you can simplify your business. And here's what I know to be true. I'm nothing special. I'm no genius. But what I do know is if I can learn this, and if I can implement this in my business, and if I can help other people implement it in their business, so can you. So can you. So give me a high 5 in the chat if you are ready to do this. Who's ready? Or type ready in the chat. I just want to make sure you're alive. All right. All right. Okay. So I want to ask you a couple of questions. There's Cheryl's face. Good. I'm going to go back to my grow meter. Okay. So my grow meter is a piece of, you could call it intellectual property that I created many years ago, and I still use it today. And the purpose that I want to walk through this very quickly is I'm going to ask you 2 questions. I'm going to ask you where you are now at your stage of business growth. And then I'm going to, you don't have to share with me where you are. I just want to know if you know where you are. And secondly, the question I'll ask you is, are you where you want to be? Okay. So as I quickly go through this, we have 4 stages of business growth. And for those of you who have my book or haven't got my book, it is very well explained in here. And today I'm just going to hit the highlights. Okay. So first stage, because we all start down here. Every business owner starts down here. The first stage is what I call glorified employee. And in glorified employee, this is where we hit the hustle, because it's all about us figuring out stuff. I'll say the stuff word. It is all about figuring out, do we have the right message? Do we have the right offer? Who are our ideal clients? Sporadically, we get clients, and we're kind of in that survival mode. We're lucky at that point if we are making enough money. That's okay, to cover our expenses. Okay. That is the stage, first stage. The second stage, and of course we move up this very gradually, right? We go up here gradually. The second stage I call manager. And at the manager stage, we are starting to make some money. We're starting to make some profit. And we find that, oh my God, we just don't have the time here. We're chasing clients and we might be making money, but we don't have time to spend it often. And I'm going to come back to this here. Here's where we really need to focus on delegating, boundaries, and starting to build a team. Stage 3. Sorry, I'll go back to stage 2. Stage 2 is, as we're moving up through here, this is where we get into growth mode. So we have expenses that go up, sales that go up, excuse me, and the gap between them never seems to freaking widen, right? That profit just never seems to get any more, okay? And so it can be a very frustrating time. And then as we move up into what I call stage 3, or the CEO, this is where we can keep our expenses, you know, they still increase. The sales increase, but the margin between them, that profit margin, really starts to widen. And that's where really this is a scaling versus growing. A CEO is the visionary leader. And it doesn't matter whether you're a lawyer, it doesn't matter whatever. As the leader, you have to set the trajectory for your business. And this is where you figured out all your good stuff and you actually get to choose your clients. People start coming to you expecting to pay high ticket. Okay. And then stage 4 is what I call the legacy level. And stage 4, this is where money really doesn't matter. And I say that a little bit in jest. It's not about the money. This is typically where somebody is building a business that is a true legacy. They want to start a movement. They want to start a charity, something like that. So let's go back here. We're in survival mode. We're in growth mode. We're the visionary CEO, or we're the legacy. So in the chat, can you please just tell me if you know where you are? Just write the word no. You know where you are. Okay. Awesome. Good. Now, second question is, the second question is, Deborah's already answered it. Do you know where you want to go? You know where you want to go? Are you where you want to be? Are you where you want to be? So it's either a yes or a no. Are you where you want to be on the grow meter? On the way. So I'm going to say that's a no because you're not quite there yet. No, not where you want to. I have a cloudy view of where I want to be, kind of almost, not yet. Perfect. Perfect. Because here's what I have found out after being in business for more than 35 years is that somewhere in here, entrepreneurs hit what I call a wall. They hit a wall. And I'll speak for myself. My coaching business, I hit a wall. It was about $60,000. Okay. $60,000. And I couldn't seem to get past that. I couldn't seem to move past that. And it didn't seem to matter what I did for marketing, what I did for anything. And I was stalled. And I see that with my clients. Some of them have even said, oh my God, I'd like to go out and just friggin' get a job. Okay. Here's the thing. What I didn't realize was this is where I had to simplify. Okay. This is where I had to simplify. So if you're stuck at that wall, and for some people, it can be, as I said, that multi-million-dollar company, they were stuck. It was multi-million dollars, or a lawyer who was stuck at, multiple six figures. But sometimes we get stuck. And when we get stuck, it kind of means that we have to do something different, right? Because there's the old saying, I think it's Einstein said it, if we are expecting the same results and doing the same thing over and over again, it's like insanity. I just want to share a little story, and I think this will demonstrate it. Here at our house, we have just over here, I have a deck, and it has one of those glass railings around it, okay? And in the winter, my husband takes out one of those glass railings so that he doesn't have to shovel the snow over the railing, okay? We're all getting a little older here. So he's just able to push the snow. So one of those glass railings is missing, glass and glass. And this week with the mild weather, we have a bird feeder, and the birds have been coming. There's been tons and tons of birds, like chickadees and yellow finches and all of these. And it was very sad at the beginning of the week because we were seeing, and I saw this one bird, okay? Somehow it got down on the deck and couldn't seem to find its way out. So it's hitting the glass and it's hitting the glass. And I see the bird walking along the edge, and I go, you just got to walk over here. You just got to walk this far and you can get out. Nope, it walked back again, hit the wall. Walk back over here, just go a little further. But that poor bird just kept going back and forth and back and forth. And I thought, you know what? That was me a few years ago. I was doing exactly the same way. I just couldn't find that opening in the glass. So if that resonates with you at all, just let me know in the chat. Just type the word glass. Just type the word glass. You'd like to do something a little differently in your business so you could find that opening. Okay, so page 2. You've been able, in your workbook, you've been able to take some notes here about the grow meter here. Now we're going to talk about some assumptions over here. And, I started writing a list of business assumptions that we've been led to believe by others that are really false beliefs and that have been holding us back. And I could have come up with 20 of these, but I thought, no. We don't have time for 20, but I wanted to pick the top 3. The top 3 I'm going to call them business building assumptions. And we want to let go of these false beliefs because they're actually holding us back from growing our business. So the first one is, I can help everyone. I can help everyone. So I want to, Leslie, you have an online vintage clothing store, which to me is pretty specific. It's not a store for everyone, right? So we have to let go of this belief that we can help everyone. And I think it comes from, as women especially, we have this feeling, this mothering, we can help everyone. And it's true, we can help everyone. But if you truly want your business to be really profitable, the counterintuitive way to do it is something we're going to talk about: how to simplify your business. There's nothing further than the truth than when you hear somebody at a networking event and they say, I can help everyone. I can help people. I can help whatever. Well, it's true, you can help everyone. If that is going to be how you market your business, no one knows how to refer you. No one knows how to refer you. So I can help everyone is your first assumption that we're all going to say, I'm letting go of that. Okay. So in the chat, would you type in let go? Let go. Let go. Let go. All right. Second assumption, more is better. And when I wrote this, I really started thinking about, number one is we often think that we have to be everywhere, right? So we have to be more visible. We have to be, somebody used the term omnipresent. You know, we have to be everywhere. I believe it's not so much about being everywhere, being visible, but it's about having a compelling message that actually attracts those people who want to be. It's like, oh my God, you know, do we have to be on TikTok, Clubhouse, Facebook business page, LinkedIn? What are some of the others, right? There are so many when it comes to social media. We do not have to be everywhere. The other thing is that more is better. I'd like you to let go of that, because as entrepreneurs, we are creatives by nature. We love new things. We love new things. I see some heads nodding, right? And so it is, and I can't tell you how many times I've run into this with clients and prospects, and we're going to talk about this a bit more, is that they feel, okay, you know, I put this offer out there and it kind of went so-so, but it really didn't give me what I wanted. So I'm going to put another one out there. And well, that one worked so-so, so I'm going to create another one. And they keep creating. And I remember going to somebody's website at one time and going, they have like 20 different offerings. How does anybody know what it is you're an expert at? So we're going to talk about simplifying, and instead of more is better, do less better. So I'd love for you to type in the chat, do less better. Do less better. Do less better. Cool. I'm going to use another piece of paper here. The third assumption. third assumption is that marketing doesn't need to be a priority. So here's what happens. There are basically 5, I call them core entrepreneurial tasks, okay? Here's what typically happens to, I'll say the newbie and the not so seasoned entrepreneur. They start with focusing their time on operations and admin. If they did a time check, that's where they would spend the majority of their time. Number 2 would be client fulfillment. So that would be when you're doing the actual coaching, when you're doing the actual selling, whatever. The third is customer service, right? Answering those emails, getting things all aligned, getting appointments set up, et cetera, et cetera. And then we get down to personal growth and development, kind of gets down here. And the last thing that they spend their time on is marketing and sales. But that's why they're staying stuck. That's one of the causes of staying stuck. Here's how a CEO or a visionary actually spends their time. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Almost the complete opposite. Anyone know why the complete difference? Anyone know why the complete difference? You can either type it on the chat or unmute yourself.
If you don't have the marketing and sales, you don't have the clients and you can't do the rest.
That's it. And the other thing is,
And you can delegate the first 3.
hey, Pat wins. Okay. Customer service, operations and admin. Those you can delegate. Those you can delegate. You can even start, there are certain people who actually client fulfillment if you have other coaches, right? But these for sure, you should be focusing on delegating. Delegating, delegating, delegating. Very cool. Your number 1 job, especially at your stage of business growth, is about marketing and sales until you're earning the kind of money that you want to earn. Marketing and sales. So with that in mind, those are our 3 assumptions. And the problem comes from if we don't simplify and if we don't overcome these assumptions, false beliefs, then what happens is when we go to grow and scale our business, we are actually growing and scaling the complications. We are growing and scaling the overwhelm. We are growing and scaling the noise. And it doesn't give us any time for this. Okay, so I got a couple of questions for you to answer in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10. So this is about your marketing. On the scale of 1 to 10, 1 being 10 being yay. Are you satisfied with the return on investment? So that means you're putting in the time and effort on your marketing and you're getting clients. So are you satisfied with the return on investment that your marketing is giving you? 1, 10 over here. You satisfied with your marketing? Okay. 5, 6, 4, 3, 6. Good. Okay. Question number 2. We're almost at the end of the first quarter of this year. Are you satisfied with your level of profit? And again, we're going to go 1 to 10. Yay. Okay. 1, 5, 6. No, that's okay. That's okay. There's no judgment here. There's no right or wrong answer. But if we don't know where we are, we can't make changes. And the last question, I think you've kind of answered this before. Do you dread marketing, which is a 1, or 10, do you love it? Oh, we've got quite the range, quite the range. Okay, cool. All right. So we've talked about the assumptions that we have been led to believe by culture, by social media, et cetera, et cetera. Now we're going to move on to this page, page 3 in your workbook. And we're going to talk about these 5 ways you can simplify your marketing and debunk these myths, okay? So this is all about simplifying your business, focusing on what's working, letting go of what's not. And it is not a one-time thing. It is a constant way of moving through. The entrepreneurial journey is constantly changing, right? I don't know about you guys, but it's kind of like your website. Your website isn't a static thing. It is constantly evolving because you are constantly evolving and your clientele is constantly evolving. If I had let my website stay as it was back in 2015, I don't think I'd have any clients now because that's not who I am today, right? Okay, so the first one, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first one is something I call micro niching. Micro niching. And what this means is drilling down from a niche to a super duper small niche. Going narrow and deep. And this relates to that I can serve everyone. Right? Yes, we can serve everyone. But if we want to really get paid as an expert, because you've all heard that heart surgeons get paid more than GPs, it's no different, right? You've got to dispel the belief that everyone is your customer. Now, you'll notice at the bottom of these here, I've got a little happy face, I've got a little kind of trumpet, and I've got a dollar sign. So the happy face is really about raising your joy. I call it your joy factor, your happy factor in your business. The trumpet is all about making your marketing easier. And the dollar sign is about getting paid more or more profit. Okay. So how does micro niching raise your joy factor? I'm going to tell a story to demonstrate this. I have a client who is a lawyer. You can actually listen to my interview with her on my podcast. I think it's episode 11. And if you want to know where my podcast is, you can find it on my website. But on episode 11, I talked with Milena Cardinal about how she simplified her business, where she was when she came to me and where she is now. Milena was one of those people who came to me with dark circles under her eyes, never taking a night off, worked till like midnight and longer, never took a weekend off. This year, the interview was done from Colombia, where she was running her business. She was bubbly, she was magnetic, she was overjoyed in her business. The main reason being is that instead of being a generalist lawyer, I found out that her passion was real estate investing. She loves it. She has a business on the side with her husband about real estate investing. And every time we talked about real estate investing, she just lit up, right? Like her energy level changed, she blossomed. And I went, that's the key. So now she focuses on attracting real estate investors to her business. It raises the joy factor because that's what she loves, because that's what she's good at. It just lights her up. It also makes her marketing easier. All she did for her marketing, truthfully, was find a real estate investing association that she speaks at. Captive audience. Her business has anyway, in the interview, she says something like, I now have more money in my bank account than I know what to do with. Okay. Marketing became easier. Profitable? Sure. Because what happens is that she is the perceived, right, as the undeniable authority in her field, as that real estate, is the go-to place for real estate investors. And they come expecting to pay a freaking good amount of money. If you are seeking out an expert, I don't know, if you were seeking out a fitness coach who was the top of the line expert in what you wanted to achieve, you would expect to pay more, wouldn't you? It's the same thing, your business. Another example of how to go narrow and deep, I'm currently working with a grief coach. Again, grief is a pretty big bucket, if you will. It's a pretty big target market. And the more we talked, I found out that her passion was helping children deal with grief. And not just children, preteens dealing with grief. We are going to position her in the marketplace as the go-to expert. There is, so far in my research, I haven't found anybody in all of Ontario who does that. Being the big fish in a small pond like that is what is going to change your business. Because here's the thing, less than ideal clients cost you big time. They suck your energy, they give you headaches, they ask for discounts, etc., etc. That's not what you want. I don't think. So let me ask you again, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1, I don't think it's worthwhile, or 10, hell yeah, I think it's worthwhile. Do you think it would be worthwhile for you to go narrow and deep? Would you think it would be worthwhile for you to create or find or discover your micro niche? 10, 10, 10. All right. Good one. Okay, that's number 1. Let me get a sip here.
Excuse me, Diana.
Yes.
I apologize. I have an appointment at 1 o'clock. I didn't realize that this goes to 1:30. So I apologize. So I'll have to watch the balance on the replay. I'm really sorry.
No problem.
Thank you very much for what so far. It's been wonderful. Thanks.
Good. Okay, Pat, you'll get an email probably this afternoon with the replay. Okay.
Thank you.
Good. All right, number two way that you can uncomplicate your business to regain some precious time and make your marketing easier is, it's very closely related to number one, but it's called solve one problem for that micro niche. The whole idea of a business is to solve a problem, or the whole idea of a business is to get paid to solve a problem. Let's be clear about that. It's to get paid to solve a problem, right? And it's true, we can all solve multiple problems for our clients, right? I could say that I help them with their life coaching, because their life impacts their business. I could say all kinds of things, but I don't talk about that. It just happens. Marketing is about solving one problem. What is it that your dream client wants solved, that one problem, and get really well known for it? For me, it's about getting off the hamster wheel so that you can hashtag work less, earn more. Okay. Something interesting that I've discovered with some of the clients I'm working with now is that they create, like I did, a hashtag around the one problem that they solve. So having that one problem that you solve, you get known, you build your reputation for solving that one problem. I'm going to be doing an interview with a colleague of mine here from Ontario. She's a business coach. And I was looking to interview her for my podcast. And I went on her social media and I went, she hasn't been on social media for like 2 years. And I thought, oh my God, don't tell me, she got sick or something, my mind went to places it shouldn't. So actually, I just reached out to her by email and said, you're not around on social media. What's happening with things and whatever? And she said, she told me the story that she pulled away from social media first as a 30-day challenge, and then it led to 60 days and then 2 years. And she said, but I had built my reputation around sales. And she said, people knew that. And she says, now I've got contracts with large corporations teaching their sales team how to do sales effectively. She had built that reputation. And even though she pulled away for solving that one problem, she pulled away from social media, her business still continued to grow. Okay. Build your reputation. How does that raise the joy factor? How does that raise the joy factor? Well, I know for many of you that solving one problem stops all the second guessing, stops all the bright, shiny object syndrome and the second guessing, like, ooh, I don't know what I should be doing. I don't know what I should be writing about. I don't know what kind of content I should create. Just focus on the one problem, and it gives you so much less stress in your business. How does it make your marketing easier? It makes your content creation so easy. If I look at okay, if I take my grow equation, I have no lack of content for each parts of these. No lack of content. And that's all I focus on. I'm not talking about life skills. I'm not talking about banking. I'm not talking about anything else except what's in there. It makes my marketing easier. Also, solving one problem, as I mentioned, gets you known as the undeniable authority in that field, just like my colleague and you actually expect to get paid more. Specialists get paid more. So imagine how much easier your business would be if A, you had a micro niche, and B, you focused on solving one problem. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being low and 10 being woohoo, rock star, how much easier do you think life would be if you had those two things? If you had those two things. 10. I was hoping somebody would say like 100, but maybe somebody in the replay will. Anyway, so there we have the first two ways that you can uncomplicate your business. Is this making sense? There's some of you, I don't see your faces. I don't know if you're, you could be lying there or whatever, but Sophie, Donna, Sophie says 10, 100, good. Okay, I just want to make sure that it's making sense for you. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is having one compelling offer. Thanks, Deborah. One compelling offer. Some people call it a signature program. Some people call it a flagship program. But it's having one compelling offer. Again, you're building your reputation on this one thing. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have an upsell and a downsell to that, but you have one core offer. So I'll use myself as an example. My one core offer is private coaching. That's it. That's all. That's it. What is my downsell? A VIP day. What is my upsell? It might be a retreat. Okay. That's it. That's all. Pretty simple. Your one compelling offer, is it based on, it needs to be first priced for your market, your micro niche, and it needs to be based on either the results or the benefits that they would get for that. And when it does, then they gobble it up. Okay. So here's what very often, I'm going to use this piece of paper again. What very often happens is that entrepreneurs go, okay, I've got this one offer. Okay, your offer, but you've got to market it. You've got to launch it. You've got to create systems for it. Right? That's one. And then they go, well, it sort of worked. So instead of doing that, I'm going to do another one, another offer, another market, another launch, another systems. And so it goes. Where do you think your time gets gobbled up? Right? It's not simple. It's not easy. So one offer that is scalable. And when you have that one offer that you're so in love with, you become magnetic, truly magnetic. Like my client, Milena, she speaks at these events. I mean, she speaks in lawyerese. I don't even understand what it is. But people go, oh my God, I just have to work with her because like she's so energetic. She's so filled with knowledge, and it just builds that trust. So having one compelling offer simplifies your business, raises the joy factor because you love it, makes your marketing easier because you're only selling that one thing, and it certainly makes sales a whole lot easier. Okay, now we could spend, I mean, have whole programs on teaching you how to create a compelling offer, right? That's not the purpose of today. The purpose of today is just understand that when you have multiple offers, there's too many moving parts to coordinate, and it becomes time consuming, takes up a lot of systems. The other thing is it's very hard to predict your revenue, right? There's no predictability, there's no sustainability. And that ends up leaving a lot of money on the table. Okay. So anybody here want see the benefit? So just in the chat, do you see the benefit of having one compelling core offer? Say, hell yeah. Sophie says yes. Absolutely. Good. Hell yeah. All right. Good. Okay. We have two more. We're almost done, but some of you might be saying, oh, Diana, this is really great, and this seems like a whole lot of work to be looking at my business and doing this. And you might be saying, you've told me what to do, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. Anybody feel like that right now? Like, how am I going to do this? Just type in, how am I going to do this? How? Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. So very often what happens is that we, when we're looking, at this information, we kind of go, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I want to share with you how I'm going to help you with the how. Is that okay? I just kind of raised your hand. I see some hands up. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to invite you to a workshop called The Counterintuitive Way to Grow Your Business and Magnetize High-Paying Clients. There is no real sales page, and you don't need to write this down. You're going to get it in an email. It's going to be May 12th at noon, but this is going to be a workshop. Like I'm only taking maximum eight people. And for instance, I'm going to bring you on and we're going to walk you through the process of actually getting this done. So for instance, I'm going to pick on Cheryl because I know Cheryl and she won't mind. I'm going to put Cheryl in the hot seat and I'm going to say, okay, Cheryl, how are we going to micro niche you down to that one thing? And then we're going to work on the one problem. So we're going to work on those two things in this workshop. Okay. I have three bonuses for you. One is you will get a private call with me after the workshop. You're also going to get a bonus, which is a new PDF that I'm excited to have in the process of being created. It's 100 ways to market your business without social media or overwhelm. Yeah. And the third bonus is a fast action bonus, which is you're going to get a discount because you are here today or listening to the replay. Instead of it being $297, which is still a freaking steal, you're going to get a coupon that says save 100, and you'll actually save $100. So it's only available to those people who have been at this workshop. And I'm also speaking at two different groups, and it will only be available to them. So this is a very exclusive. It is about how we're going to implement those first two things. Okay. All right. So how does that sound? Oh, I got some high fives. I got some high fives, some happy dances there. All right. Happy dance, happy dance. Okay. Yeah. All right. Number 4, we're going to we're getting down here on our sheet. Number 4 is focus on one lead generation system. So what do I mean by that? We all need, doesn't matter if you have you're selling a product, it doesn't mean whether you're selling whatever, we all need to generate leads. And the best way to generate leads, what is it? For each of you, it probably will be different. But one way, not 100 ways, not 5 ways, not complicated ways, not paid advertisement ways, one organic way that you will focus on, you'll focus your time, money, and energy on to generate leads. Okay. I used to do, when I had my live events, one of the things I used to do was, some of you might remember these, I would, ask each table to brainstorm how many ways they could think of to generate leads or to do marketing. Same thing. That's what it means. Tables would come up with 27 ways to generate leads, 13, 20, 30 ways. And we had a little bit of a contest. But the truth of the matter is you only dilute what you're doing when you go broad. Just like micro niching down, you need to go narrow and deep. You need to understand if you're going to use social media and if you're going to use, you've got to pick your, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute, you're going to pick your platform. But whatever it is you're going to focus on to lead generate, you need to do it well. Years ago, and I also wrote about this in an email, I don't know, a week or so ago, how I was really lucky years ago when I started my business, that I had a business coach who said to me, Diana, the best way that you resonate with your prospects is by doing live trainings. And she was the one that encouraged me, actually, she made me pick a date for my first live event, even though I just about shit my pants. Okay? There was no 2 ways about it. I wasn't a speaker, but yet to get 100 people, 100 women entrepreneurs in that room for 4 years, I think I did 15 of these live events. That's the way customers, prospects resonated with me. That's how I got a client whose revenue was $10 million from doing that. And so today I've decided that instead of doing these live events, I'm doing this. I don't have to set up all that complicated shit at the hotel and whatever. I'm doing these. And so I'm going to focus my lead generation on doing workshops like these. So I want to instill upon you that when you simplify your business and do this, it really pays off. I also recently spoke to a friend / mentor of mine who has a 7-figure business. And over the years, I've seen them try paid advertising. I've seen them hire expensive firms. I've seen them do complicated sales funnels. And when I was talking to them recently about what they were doing this year, I kind of had to chuckle in the background because they said, we're just simplifying our business. We're just doing what we do best. And what they did best was, he is a speaker and he stands in front of a group. Now, he's still doing his speaking much like this, right? Live workshops. He does that. That is his lead generation. So there is a way to get consistent, qualified leads when you can drill down. And that's one of the things I really help my ideal clients or my private clients do, is how can you determine your best way that you resonate with your clients, right? So does this make your marketing easier? Hell yeah, right? It frees up so much time. No complicated funnels, no complicated tech, just tweaking and doing what you do best and do it well. Does it make your do you get more joy out of it? Of course, because you're not reinventing the wheel every time and you're doing what you love to do, right? You're good at it and you get better at it. And yes, does it make you money? Of course it does. You just get better and better and better at that one thing. And if any of you are looking for a book to read about the one thing, there is a book by that title. The One Thing, and the author is, I want to say Gary Keller is the author. But it's based on that principle. So if you know Keller Real Estate, he is one of the founders of Keller Real Estate. So that is number 4. So we've got 1 is micro niching, 2 is, solve one problem, 3 is one core offer, 4 is one lead generation system, and 5 is one platform. So if it was social media, one platform. Now, not everybody needs social media, right? But if you're going to use social media, start by focusing your energy and mastering that one thing, that one platform. Otherwise, it's kind of like you're juggling all these balls in the air and the algorithms change consistently. And it's hard to keep up. It's really and truly hard to keep up. So that's why focus on one. Now, here's the truth of the matter. Just because you're focusing on one doesn't mean that you aren't present on the others. Okay, and I'll share with you what I mean. On my podcast, I recently interviewed Mark McWhinney, get his name right, who, episode 9, I believe, he is the founder of a Facebook group called The Coaching Jungle. He's got 22,000 members in that Facebook group. He also has a podcast. Now, he focuses on his Facebook group. He says he calls his the 3 pillars. So he has a funnel based on the 3 pillars. His podcast, he sends him from his podcast to his Facebook group to a paid newsletter, paid printed newsletter. Is he on LinkedIn? Of course he is. Does he spend time and energy and money on LinkedIn? No. Okay. So pick your battles, pick your battles, pick your platforms. And there's a whole way of, understanding which platform you want to be on. But that's not what we're talking about here today. Okay. So one platform. How does that increase your joy? It gives you a whole lot less of stuff to do if you're focusing on one thing. It makes your marketing easier because you're doing less better. And it's more profitable because you are attracting those high-paying clients. Okay? All right, that is the 5th. So 5 areas to simplify so that you can reclaim your precious time, so that you can unapologetically earn more money, make your marketing easier, and find that joy in your business again today. So, any questions on those 5 things? Any questions? I'll just pause for a minute. Some of you have been kind of quiet back there. Any questions? There doesn't seem to be any. Okay. So I want to just kind of go back to the beginning a little bit. And I'm guessing you came to this workshop today for, one or more reasons. One, you might have felt, or you might be feeling a little scattered in your business, not knowing exactly what your next best step is to move forward. Or maybe you're feeling stuck and your business isn't making the money that you want, and you need to do something different. That's number 2. Or 3, you're on a mission to do big things in your business and you know you have to grow to make that big impact. So is it 1, you feel scattered, 2, you feel stuck, or 3, you're on a big mission, or maybe it's all 3 of them. Maybe it's all 3 of them. And there's no judgment here. Which one of those? 3, 2, all 3. Good, good, good. You see, because either way, either doesn't matter which one of those that you've picked, I think you really have a couple of options. You can either kind of piece together how you are going to do this, how you're going to zero in on your one problem, how you're going to micro niche. You can piece that all together yourself. Or you can decide that you're going to get some help. And sorry, I'm just going to answer a question here. Oh, okay. Yeah, either you're going to get some help with this, and here's how I'm going to show you step by step how to go narrow and deep, how to magnetize those high-paying clients so you can make a bigger impact. And I just want to give you the link here. Have I got the right piece of paper in front of me? Here we are. I'm going to give you this link. Edit. So many things to do here. Right when you're on, edit, paste. So here is the link for the counterintuitive workshop that I'm going to be doing. We're going to address the misconceptions about how to get high-paying clients, and I'm going to workshop with each one of you how to micro niche for you, how to go narrow and deep, and how to simplify that one problem that you're solving. The fast action bonus, which is good for till Monday at 9, is save 100, which means you're going to save $100. And I think so let me ask a question. How many of you found today's workshop valuable on a scale of, I don't know, 1 to 10? 1 being, nah, it wasn't worth my time. 10, yeah, it was pretty good. Gazillions. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to work with me that wasn't going to be at the same price as my private clients. We're going to do exactly the same kind of work. It's going to be, a couple of hours on May 12th. And I know that it's going to help you shift your businesses. And that's what I love doing. I'll go backwards. Yes, I love. When I started my business, I had this, I'll say, mission in my mind, this goal in my mind to impact 1 million women entrepreneurs. And somebody asked me once, well, how are you ever going to keep track of that? And I went, I'm not really sure. And then I thought about it. And I went, you know what? If I'm impacting 8 people here, and they impact somebody else, and they impact somebody else, and they impact somebody else, I've done my job. The ripple effect is there. So if this workshop, speaks to you, or if you would like to ask me some questions, if you'd like to get on the phone with me, maybe you think that, yeah, this would be good, but maybe I need a bit more or something, I'm going to suggest that you go to my website, dianalidstone.com, and hit the hot pink button in the top right-hand corner. Let's have a conversation about how I can help you shift your business, how I can help you grow your business. that's what I'm really here to do, and to help business owners make a bigger impact. So thank you so much for showing up. I'd love for you to unmute yourselves. I'm going to go on gallery here. Let me know what was a big aha for you. What was a big aha for you? Anybody want to unmute themselves?
Hi, Diana. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who wants to go first? Okay. So for me, this was, as I said, extremely timely because I'm completely transitioning from what I was doing before to what I'm doing now. So the aha was I learned a lot, but it also confirmed that I'm exactly on the right path, because tomorrow was my day to do nothing but vision and energy and plan. So this couldn't have been better timing for me. It also, like I say, confirms that I'm doing what I teach, which is listen to the whispers or get the 2x4. I have a little green 2x4 over here. And I just did a talk on it. So I really want to say thank you. This was very timely, and I really appreciate it.
Good. Awesome. Cool. Cheryl says in the chat, I'm closer to my micro niche than I thought. Okay, good. And the challenge then becomes, how do we communicate that out in our marketing message, right? So yeah, how do we communicate that out in your marketing message? Chantel, you raised your hand, but
oh yeah.
there you are.
Hi. Hi, Diana. So good to see you. I so missed your workshops. The big aha for me was I still dread marketing and sales, but when you did the 5 newbie entrepreneur pieces, I really am spending way too much time in client fulfillment and not enough time in marketing and sales. So the big aha was you can delegate those other things and really focus. And so yeah, I'm definitely going to join your how to.
Perfect.
I can't wait.
Perfect. Sounds good, Chantel. Great to see you. Great to
You too.
see you. Anybody else have an aha or something? Leslie, you have a different business than some of these others, so you're more product-based. Oh, and I'm curious, Leslie, how did you find me? Can you unmute yourself or type in there you are.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I think it was just on Facebook.
Okay.
Because I spend a little time every day trying to find different business niches or whatever that I can look for. But I don't know, mine is quite interesting because it all goes by what's going on in the economy and the time of the year. It's very seasonal, it can be.
Mm-hmm.
And but now I see that where I am on my journey, and I know where I am, right? But it's still difficult because I'm not really sure if I'm really stuck. It just depends, on the season. And then of course, Etsy works in really silly ways sometimes, because the more sales you get, the more closer you get to the top. And so, people are looking at your website more. So it's hard to challenge all that at the same time. You got to or I'm trying to, keep above it or understand it. And my son's been very helpful. He's been helping me with the social media part of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, Christmas and actually, I guess from October to February, I was doing really well. This month, I'm not so, but I'm not really sure why, I think it could be the economy, but I'm not 100% sure.
I'll just let you know, Leslie, I had a retail store, not an online store, but I had a retail store for how many years was it? God, it's more than 10 years, 12 years. And so I understand the cyclical nature. And during that time, I totally shifted my product offering by really studying it every single month. What were the best sellers, or in categories, what were the best sellers, right? That has to be the, the key for that. And it's no different with product and services, right? I remember looking, I had a client who was a janitorial service, and he offered like 20 different things. And I went, what's your best seller? No, not what was his best seller. I said, what is your most profitable? And he went, well, by far this. And I said, so why don't you just focus on that? If you really want to be profitable, and if you don't want all the headaches and the complications and everything else, just focus on doing that one thing even better. So it's yeah. Good. Well, thanks for coming today. I really appreciate it. Donna, did you have anything you wanted to share?
Hi.
Hello.
I think the list of 5 things was really great for me. I really enjoyed that piece of it. And I am looking at rebranding. So I'm going to be not really going totally in a different direction, but going from, senior concierge to senior move management. So yeah,
Okay.
so that's where I am right now. Yes, very much so. Very much so.
Good.
COVID took too many clients, and it's just a constant revolving wheel, and it's time to shift a bit.
Good.
So,
Good. Well,
yeah.
thanks for showing up today, everyone.
Hey, thank you. It was amazing. Really, really wonderful. Really great information. Thank you so much.
So I have to ask, this is my first time ever doing one of these workbooks like this. How did you like it or not like it?
Loved it.
Oh, really?
Absolutely loved it. I thought it was just perfect.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yes. I did send out to those who registered early that 2-page marketing plan thing. And I didn't talk about it today. I just thought, oh, I've got enough in here.
I
So
loved coloring it, Diana.
I'm part of a year-long program about, now I can't see it, Deborah, because you got the green screen going on.
It's my box of crayons, 100 crayons.
Yeah. I'm part of a year-long program about creating visual content. And so this is where that comes from. So just something a little different, because I found that when I was taking part in workshops, that it was kind of fun to have something that wasn't perfectly created in Canva. So yeah, anyway.
Again, simplified. I mean, for those of us who maybe aren't so technologically wired, and as you know me for so long, you know that that's my biggest challenge in life. For some of these programs, I just thought it was wonderful because it felt like, okay, this is fun, it's light, it's easy, it's perfect in its imperfection, and it's just perfect for me anyway.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And it was fun to create it. It does take a little bit of thinking outside the box, but yeah. So thank you so much for that feedback, and I'll use it again. You ladies have been so amazing. I'm really grateful for the time that you have spent with me. So thank you so much, and adieu until we meet again. Take care.
Thanks, Diana. It was great.
Bye.